Sorry about that. So yeah, I've been working on this. I don't know if it was a camper special truck, but it did have a fifth wheel, a part of it out, but here's the rest of it. It had a fifth wheel attachment in it. So I think it hauled a fifth wheel most of its life. That's probably why the wood bed's still in really good shape. So yeah, when I got this truck, it was like this, missing the whole front end and no interior, and it was down to a long block. It had been sitting, no valve covers, no intake, no exhaust, no charging system, no cooling system, no fuel system, no distributor. So it had been sitting like that in the guy's backyard for I don't know how many years, just in the weather. So, and before that, it sat out in some back alley. He was telling me, I don't know, the homeless people bashed out the heater core and took that to recycle it. And I'm sure they probably took the front grill as well. So that's why that's all bashed. I have a new unit to put in there. Still trying to figure out the power steering setup on this because this is a later 350. And so I need to figure out brackets to mount the power steering pump still. And so when I got to the truck, like I said, it was torn down, and there was the remnants of a tune port. Like this truck had tune port on it at one time in its life, because there was the injection harness was still dangling here in the engine bay, and the tune port intake was in the bed of the truck, and so that was kind of strange. I don't know if somebody had tune port on this thing with that overdrive. That would have been kind of neat setup. So I took all that stuff off and got it home, and first thing I noticed is this head number 4, number 6 rocker was missing a push rod. So that was the red flag. I was like, uh-oh. So I put a push rod in it and left it with the intake and everything off, and did a compression test, and that cylinder was dead, totally dead. So jumped to this side, did a compression test on this side, and they were all in really good shape, like 140 or right around in there, over 100 each cylinder. So that was pretty good. So I left that head alone, pulled this head, had a bent exhaust valve, did a leak down test. It was coming right out the exhaust port, so pulled that head, got a set of heads from a buddy, cleaned them up, swapped this head on, did another compression test, all came out good. Distributors out of it, so first thing before I did any of that, I put a drill to the oil pump and a gauge on it and made sure it was building good oil pressure. So that was, once that happened, I moved forward on the rest of it, so that was good. So I ended up putting the distributor, intake, carb, getting the ram's horn manifolds and alternator, and I took the cooling system out of that 69 and put it in this one, and fired this thing off, got it running good, got it tuned, runs really decent, doesn't smoke or anything. But as soon as I put the coolant to the system, it started puking out right over that motor mount. So that freeze plug was shot. You can see where I put you can see that bolt underneath the motor mount there. I put one of those expanding rubber plugs in there because I didn't have room to get a drift and a hammer in there to put in like a brass, regular one that you hammer in. So I did it that way, and that thing seems to be holding tight. So fix the cooling system. put the fuel system in it. Had to go get a tank and from a buddy and buy a tank and run the lines. And I just temporarily ran it to a electric pump because this motor's got the block off plate right there, you see. Probably because he was running that injection or something. And so I ran a click-clack pump to off of a can for a while, and then off of its own fuel system, and ran it and got it up to temp a few times, and just, you know, pulled it kind of in and out of the shop. I still needed to go through the brakes. The pedal's real spongy, and so it's been running surprisingly well. So, you know, 350. No surprise there. So the plan was to paint it. I was just going to rattle can, you know, primer it, you know, and give it to my wife's dad, you know, kind of like a blank truck so he could take it the rest the way he wants it. Because this is going to be, I guess, his little retirement, you know, project while he's retired, I guess. And so it's a pretty solid truck. It needs rockers, just like all of them. Just like all of them do. It needs rockers. See here. Yeah, I did some license plate work on that other side. I mounted some license plates on the floor. Pretty funny. So, put a different steering wheel in it. Got an old steering wheel off 59 Impala. I think that's pretty cool. Put that on there. So that was one of the projects I've been working on. But that's at a standstill because it's too cold to paint. So we'll go to the latest projects. I'm working on this one. It's a 92 K1500 short bed step side 4x4 TBI, the throttle body 350, little Rancho lift on it. So I got this, and I was gonna do like a quick little, you know, fix it up, kind of flip it before the weather hits. So, you know, somebody looking for a nice 4-wheel drive. So let's open this door. So I go look at it, I go test drive it, get it running, and I get it back home, but it's got a rough idle. Like, it doesn't hesitate, it doesn't have loss of power, it just has this rough idle, and you gotta dance on the gas pedal like at a stoplight, it'll wanna die. So, get it home, start doing the usual, replacing sensors, you know, map sensor, you know, O2 sensor, stuff like that. So none of that fixes it. Still got the rough idle. Runs, I mean, fine other than the rough idle. It just wants to die. So do some more reading and find out these things kind of eat distributors. So I throw a new distributor at it. And I must have timed it wrong because this has an earlier style crate motor 350, like over-the-counter, kind of like a Honcho Mexico crate motor. It's got the parameter valve cover bolts, not the center valve cover bolts like on throttle bodies and Vortex. So it's got an older 350 in it, but they swapped on the throttle body to it with like weird little spacers or whatever. Anyways, so I couldn't get the distributor and I couldn't get it running, you know, and so I set it. The guy that I bought it from told me it had a cam in it, so I set it at like 8 degrees before TDC and got it to fire off, but it instantly fouls the plugs, and then it won't run, it won't start after that, so I've just been dealing with that. This is my first TBI truck. I don't know anything about these throttle body motors, but I don't know if the timing's got to be exactly perfect on these because they're electronic timing. So I gotta reset it at 0, pull it all apart again, pull all the plugs out, and just go. So I just been kind of over that. It's been messing with me for about 2 weeks now, so I kind of shoved it over. But I'll get it. But I've been working on this one most recently. This is a 62 Chevy Apache that's been swapped onto a 73 Chevy Blazer 4x4 chassis. So, been just going through all the systems on this, and it'd been sitting years, so I was told it's got a fresh motor in it, so, but it'd been sitting, so that's kind of bad on the fresh engine to be sitting like that. So when I went and looked at it, pulled the dipstick and the oil smelled like gas real bad. So I told the guy, not to start it. Don't wash the bearings out of it, especially if they're new and sitting. So, he tried to fire it up and turn it over and turn it. I told him to stop and don't wash the bearings out of it, and made him an offer on it, and he took it. So I got it home, parked it, and was working on that green 92 for a while, and decided to get this one going. So this is our newest project. Might have to put you down for a second. I'm going to show you this. This is my favorite part of the truck. Biggest reason why I bought it. Look at that. Big block, 454. So it's got a 700R in it, which, genius. This is how he hooked up the TV cable. So guess what's wrong with the trans? I bought it with the wasted trans. Third and fourth is burned out of it because the TV cable he didn't set it right. So that sucks, but I don't know if I'm going to have that rebuilt or put in a Turbo 400 or what, but I just got her running the other day. Drained the oil, drained the fuel system, had it running on fresh gas off of a clickety-clack pump and a tank. Turned it over till I got oil pressure. Fired it up and am getting a rattling. I thought, that's why I got the valve cover off. I thought it was drivetrain or valve train noise. Like they just need to be adjusted, or so I pulled the passenger side cover the other day and poked around the stethoscope, and it's not rattling from that side. So I pulled this side the other day, fired it up. It's not rattling really from there. So the guy told me it's got a Lunati cam in it. I don't know if it's a solid roller or what, and it's just noisy, or a stethoscope while it's running underneath on the lower end. I can't pinpoint a lower end knock on it. I don't know. So I just been going through this. I'm gonna get the valve cover on it probably today and fire it back up and put it in gear and see if third and fourth is really burned up on it, because I haven't driven it yet. But I did notice when I got it home, I pulled the trans dipstick, and the fluid wasn't burnt like black or anything, but it was like strawberry milk colored, like water. It mixed with water or something. So I don't know if that could have been the reason why the transmission quit, but I drained it and put new fluid in it, and I'll probably drain it again and And the trans was running to its own cooler. It was running to its own tranny cooler there, so it wasn't plugged into the radiator. So I don't know how it could have got water or ATF or water or antifreeze in there. So I've just been dealing with that. Mean looking truck. So I'll get that valve cover back on it and I'll fire it up for you guys and let you listen to it. Maybe you can hear the rattle that I'm hearing. I might be just crazy, but those big swampers out of that, I got some swampers for it that are going to go on this thing. So let's see, I still got the old Trans Am's buried here. That's my shed. I've been in the middle of putting a wood stove in. So, I mean, this place isn't insulated or anything, but it's out of the wind, and when you're standing next to that fireplace when it's cooking, it's better than nothing. So, we got that going. There's the old Dodge. So, we can drag that out. Tear that carb down, maybe try and get that going. There's that square body next to it is mine. It's an 81 K2500 GMC Sierra Classic. Needs a carb, and it's got a Goodwrench 350 in it. Needs a carb, and I think maybe the flex plate might have sheared the bolts or sheared the bolts on the torque converter or something because the trans doesn't work, but it's another one. So other than that, yeah, sold everything off, got everything fixed up and sold it all off, and basically reinvested in all these other ones to do the same thing this upcoming summer. You know, I'll fix up this Apache, probably get it another coat of primer and sell it off, and the Super Duties will probably keep, and that green 69, that'll probably get put together and sold off, and the C20, the 69 C20 will get gifted to my father-in-law. What else? If I ever fix that 92, that'll get probably put up for sale. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you want to see. I'm going to be posting little videos here and there anyway. So this is Shade Tree Me. I'm out.